Hi, this is Pat Walker at Mission Winners, and you're sitting here watching this video saying, okay, what's this guy going to do for me? And folks, Winners, I'm doing a training coaching video for everybody. My background was in education years ago. I taught on the university level, and I got out of the business. I became a broker in 1986. I was there for the crash of 87 and everything since. And I'm grateful for this. I was a broker and an investments advisor all the way through the year 2000, and I got out of the business, and I became a private investor in 2000 and supported a family of 6, living off our investing profits. I'm thankful for that, by the way. I'm not bragging. But at that period of time, it was a pressure cooker, and I really had to deliver it because there were 5 people depending on me. And I don't have any wealthy relatives. My dad died when I was 29 years old, and so I had to make it happen. So I really was on a quest to figure things out. One of the books that really helps me was How to Make Money in Stocks by Bill O'Neill. Wonderful, wonderful book. I encourage you to read it. It really lays out a solid foundation that you can build off of. Another good book, a book by Mark Minervini, Trade Like a Stock Market Wizard. Very good book. Great foundations. I'm going to go back to my foundations from a long time ago. All right? A long time ago. And it's right here. 2 primary foundations. And I want you to think about this. These are from the book 40 Great Stock Market Winners. Stocks that made huge gains. I'm not talking, a stock that went up 30% in a year. No. A lot more than that. 87% of these stocks had earnings of 30% or higher. 71% had earnings of 50% or higher prior to their moves. That's the key part of this. Take the averages. 87%, 71%. What am I basically saying here? This research points out that approximately 80%, 8 out of 10 of these stocks that made monster moves had earnings up 40% or higher before they made their move. I'm going to say it again. 8 out of 10 of these super stocks had earnings up 40% or higher before they made their move. 8 out of 10. That is an edge, a quantifiable edge that you can use. Down here, 86% of them had sales up 30% or higher. 63% of them had sales up 50% or higher in the quarter prior to their breakout. Before, 86, 73, what am I saying? Roughly 75% of these stocks had sales up 40% or higher before they made their move. That is a statistical edge that you can use. What do? You can combine these 2 factors. Average earnings up 40% or higher, alrighty? Average sales up 45% or higher. You can combine those together to make your screens. Over here are some MarketSmith screens. I love MarketSmith. I was in the beta test group back in the late 90s, early 2000s. The market was called Daily Graphs Online. So we know how to maneuver around in this. But here are 2 very, very important screens. 40% earnings, top 40 groups. 45% average sales for 2 quarters. Right there. Right there is the power backed up by this research. And folks, I will tell you something. Almost every great stock that you will find will have either earnings up 40% or higher last quarter or average sales up 40 to 45% for 2 quarters. Also, focus on stocks that are in leading groups. Focus on stocks that are in the top 40 groups. See where that says top 40? 40% earnings of stocks in the top 40 groups. Also, don't look at low-priced stocks. Look at stocks over, basically, I cut it off at around $12 a share. I really don't like stocks under $12 a share. Also, you want to go where money can flow in, but money can also get out. So don't trade the thin stocks unless you're fast. If you're really fast, go ahead. And I also used a word that I hardly ever used, trade. Invest is better. We don't day trade. I'm not in this for 15 minutes or 30 minutes. I want to try to let it work as long as possible. I can't stress that enough. If you can remember one thing, it's this. A good trend will pay more than all the in and out crud that you do. Trust me, I've seen it firsthand. Let it work for you. Let the stock trend for you as long as possible. If you do that, you can let the stock work for you instead of your eyes, your mind, and your fingers. You can say, well, Pat, give me some guidance on that. And I will. Focus on stocks, and I'm going to say this very slowly for you. Focus on stocks over $12 a share. Focus on stocks that trade at least 200,000 shares a day, minimum. I actually prefer higher than that, okay? 200,000 shares a day. Focus on stocks that are above the 50-day moving average line. Focus on stocks that are in the top 40 groups. Top 40 groups. By the way, 40% earnings, top 40. Think there's any coincidence for that? That's one of my screens. 40% earnings are stocks in the top 40 groups. Focus on stocks that are within 15 to 20% of 52-week highs. I want you to think about this for a minute. Be very pragmatic. When you're looking at charts and you see a stock that's made a huge move, look for a pattern before the huge move. Study that pattern. A flat base, a simple consolidation zone, a consolidation, a cup and a handle. Look for something that everybody can see. And look for stocks that are within 15 to 20% of 52-week highs. Let's be pragmatic for a minute. If it is near highs, once it hits highs, there's nobody left who says, I bought the stock at $40 a share, it fell to 30, it's back to 40, thank God I'm at break even, I'm selling. That's called overhead supply. There's no overhead supply. There's nobody who needs to get back to break even. Think about that. If there's nobody left that needs to sell because, thank God I'm back to my cost, you got rid of all those sellers. Now, if you've gotten rid of or don't have any of those sellers, who are the only sellers that could be left? The people that owned it from before that maybe have a profit. Now, take that a step further. If it's breaking out of a long base at $15 a share, $26 a share, whatever, and it's a long base breakout, and I don't mean like 2-week base, okay? 4 weeks, 5 weeks, 6 weeks, 7, 8, longer bases that are really clean and simple, and it has a good accumulation distribution rating, there's a strong possibility there are very few sellers left. I'm going to say that again. There are very few sellers left. If there are no sellers left, or very few sellers left, what does that mean? Any buying should push it up in price. Any buying will push it up in price. Now, who would be buying? Not traders, investors that want to own it. A stock that has a great story. Focus on franchise companies. Companies that what they do better than anybody else. That's huge. Amazon. What Amazon does, they do better than anybody anybody else. Search engines. Do you go to Bing? Do you go to Yahoo? Come on. Where do you go? You go to Google. You go to franchises, brands, brand names, companies. They have a corner on what they do. You want to buy an electric car. Where do you go? Tesla. You go to franchises. If you start doing, you're going to buy a phone? Most people do what? Apple. Apple. You get my point. You're going to download movies? Where do you go? Netflix. Franchises. So now we've combined several different variables. And this is your edge. This is your edge if you use it. I'm not kidding. You know, hey folks, I'm here. There were 6 people. I was one of them. Hey, I needed to make the money. Okay, you got 4 kids in private school. You need to make money. You have to. And you got to make darn sure you don't get your butt kicked and lose a bunch of it either. So you got to run it like a business. And you will find, as I said, 40% earnings for 2 quarters, or 40% earnings for 1 quarter, average sales of 45% for 2 quarters. In the top 40 groups, see the top 40 right there? This has it also. Focus on that. Stocks above $12 a share. Stocks that do more than 200,000 shares a day. Stocks within 20% of 52-week highs. Stocks with an accumulation distribution of A or B. Focus on the best of the best and forget the stuff. You can say, I might miss something. I might miss something. Why not stack the deck in your favor? By so doing, you have faith in your methodology, which also means when it does go, you can A, let it work longer, B, you can buy more shares, C, you can manage it accordingly. So there's a recipe for a good cake. How about that? I love cake, by the way. Okay, German chocolate cake, I got to tell you. So combine those variables together. Great earnings. You can say, whoa, back up. What are you talking about? Focus on companies that earnings were up 40% or higher. Average sales for 2 quarters up 45% or higher. Or you can round it down to 40 if you want. Top 40 groups, all right? Over $12 a share, over $15 a share, within 15 to 20% of 52-week highs. Trades at least 200,000 shares a day. Has an accumulation distribution of A or B. Folks, that is a recipe to make money. And then guess who's in charge of your destiny? You are. You are. Focus on buying it. Look for volume surges when it break out. And always remember this. Will you be wrong? Yes. You know the only person who never loses money in the stock market on any stock, you know what their name is? Liar. Liar. Everybody has losses. The best investors have losses. But you limit losses. Keep them very small. You can say, Pat, what do you mean? They talk about 7-8%. If you're really getting good, 3 to 5%. The best stocks will push through that pivot price and just go. Look at the weekly chart. Look at the daily chart. Look for chart patterns a 6th grader could see and say, hey, Dad, hey, Mom, you know, if that stock goes over $16 a share, that looks really good. There's nobody. That's the old highs. That's recent old highs. Maybe there won't be many sellers and it can really make a big move. Now you have an edge. And that's for you. It's what we teach every day at Mission Winners. It's what we do every day at Mission Winners, is try to help people speed up your learning curve so that you know what the heck to do. And turn off the noise. Turn off the noise. And it'll help you make money with less stress. And less stress leads to better decision making. Hope this helps you. That's my goal. And I thank you.
Thank you for watching the video. We hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please hit like. Maybe hit that subscribe button. We come up with new content nearly every day. Also, check out the videos on the right. YouTube recommends the one on the top, and the bottom one is something we thought you might enjoy. See you next time.